Alright, how's it going, guys and gals out there in Horrorland? I haven't done one of these in about, I'd say a good three or 4 years. This is going to be a DVD kind of horror movie, I'd say review kind of thing, but this is a little different than anything else I've done before. This is the top 10 most underrated or obscure horror movies. So, I'm going to start with two that are just honorary mentions that didn't quite make the cut, but they're still very underrated and very awesome. So this one here is called The Cottage. It is 2008, about a couple brothers who take a girl hostage, and the hostage situation goes terribly wrong, and they're held up in some little house in the middle of the United Kingdom somewhere, and everything's going wrong, and they find out their neighbor is a axe-wielding maniac. The character, the killer, is awesome. He's got a crazy awesome mask. It looks like Leatherface's mask, but a lot cooler. He's got a fucked up face, and it's awesome. The movie's good, the storyline's good, the acting's good, and the character is good. Special effects. So yeah, check it out, The Cottage. Never heard of it before. Just picked it up as a blind buy, but definitely awesome. I might get a lot of flack for this one, but I really don't care. Hellraiser 4 is fucking awesome. I love it. My favorite is Hellraiser 1, 2, and 4. 3 is just after this one, but this is an awesome, awesome movie. Come on. If you don't like this, you're nuts. It goes back to the story of how the actual Lament configuration puzzle box was made. The original creator, the toy maker. And the story about the evil lady back in the day, and just there's so many awesome things about this movie. After this, the rest are crap, absolute shit, but this is deadly. So these are the two honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut, but here is the actual top 10. The First Power, Lou Diamond Phillips. I grew up watching this movie. I must have watched it 100 times. I'd rent this all the time. Lou Diamond Phillips is a detective for the LAPD, I guess, homicide detective, and he puts this guy away, this killer, and kills him in the electric chair, and his spirit actually comes back, and he's now supernatural, and he can do a lot of crazy things like jump off of a 5-story building onto his feet, and the killer is really cool. The storyline's awesome, and it's kind of cheesy and corny in an 80s kind of way. It's 1990, but it's awesome. It's really cool. If you've never seen it before, The First Power. Check it out. Number 10. Number 9. Pin. A Plastic Nightmare. I'm really a big fan of Terry O'Quinn from The Stepfather, like all of his movies, and he plays a doctor in this one, and there's I don't know if you can see that, but there's like a plastic dummy that helps students to see body parts and all this kind of stuff, and it talks to their kids, but it really doesn't talk. He's just throwing its voice, but it ends up making his son really think this thing was alive his whole life, and that he talked to him, and he's got an obsession with it, and he blames murders on it and tries to kill his own sister because he's saying Pin did it, and it's psychologically really cool. It's a deadly, deadly movie. It's made really well. So yeah, check it out. Number 9. Most of these I had never even heard of before. Just picked them up on blind buys. This one's called Let's Scare Jessica to Death. This one's from 1971, really old, but I mean, like, I don't even know how to explain this movie. This is just really strange, a really weird, creepy atmosphere. It's about a girl. I'll kind of tell you a little bit about it. I can't really explain all of it because it's just so many crazy things in it, but it's about a girl who suffers a nervous breakdown. She goes back home and is trying to recover. And she goes to a little countryside place to get away from it all, and she starts seeing things, and she starts experiencing strange things, seeing a girl on the mountains that has died many years ago. She's going nuts all over again, and it shows her descent into madness. And she even, at the end, sees a vampire or something like that. Like, it's crazy. It's really well done, really spooky, and I definitely recommend this. Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I'm a big fan of vampire movies. This was one I had never heard of before, and I just picked it up on a blind buy. The Hunger, David Bowie, and Susan Sarandon. Now this is an amazing stylized vampire movie. You don't ever see fangs. You don't ever even, I don't even think you see blood at all in this whole movie. This was directed by Tony Scott, so you gotta know this is awesome. Uh, David Bowie is a vampire who's aging very rapidly because he just hasn't ate for a long time. You get to see him withering away, and his lover is still like a really young woman, a really beautiful woman, and he ends up dying because he can't eat. So she picks up a lover, which is Susan Sarandon. They end up having a really hot affair, and like I say, it's a really stylish movie. It's really sexy. It'll like seriously take your breath away. It's done quite amazingly. I was very surprised by this movie. Very sexy movie. Check it out, The Hunger. Number 6, Ghost Story. Now this one was 1981. I didn't see this until a couple years ago, and man, I wish I would have saw this when I was a kid. I haven't seen too many awesome ghost movies, but this kicks ass. I don't even really know how to explain this. There's a group of guys, four old dudes, like Fred Astaire. All I gotta say is that him and 3 of his buddies have this little group called the Chowder Society. And and they're all old men now. They're like 60, 70, but when they were in their early 20s or late teens, they accidentally killed a girl and they buried her, and for the rest of their lives this spirit of this girl has been haunting them and messing their lives up. So they finally all admit to what went on. They try to make the best of it, but it's a really spooky movie. It's really well done. I highly recommend it. Ghost Story. This is a different cover though. The other cover is awesome. This one kind of sucks, but yeah, it's deadly. So now we got to our top 5. So this one I just looked at the cover and bought just because the cover was cool. I'm a huge fan of Vincent Cassel. This one is Shaitan, which is a foreign word for Satan. I really don't even know how to explain this movie. It is foreign. At first I was like, this is kind of crappy, but I watched it and I was like, wow, this movie is awesome. It is so creepy. It is so weird. It is so fucked up. Vincent Cassel, I guess this is a small hillbilly town in Europe. I don't know where. I can't remember where. Maybe France. But these kids were at a club and they end up going to this house, and Vincent Cassel welcomes them in and is trying to be very welcoming, and as he has his wife there and she's pregnant, we later on find out it's his sister who he knocked up and they're having the devil's baby. But I mean, it's so creepy. Like, Vincent Cassel is a really awesome weirdo. It's just one of the strangest movies, and just gave me goosebumps and fucking felt like a spider was crawling on me. It just weirded me out completely. But it is very well done, and it really does what it sets out to do. So check it out, Shaitan. Alright. Now, alright, I don't know if all of you have heard of this one, but House on the Edge of the Park. I am not at all a fan of the original Last House on the Left. I think that is one of the worst, shittiest movies ever made. It is just terrible camera work, terrible story, terrible effects, terrible acting, terrible everything. It's fucking trash. But David Hess from that movie, he also plays in this movie. He plays pretty much the same kind of character. A real piece of shit. He's a rapist. He's a lot of crazy things. This movie is kind of like Last House on the Left, but so much better, 1,000 times better. The acting in this was great. The storyline was great. The twist at the end was fucking kick-ass. This movie was really good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't give you an uncomfortable feeling like you did when you were watching Last House on the Left. Like, you didn't get to see nobody get raped, or you didn't want to just look away. It was really well done, and it was done good by all the actors in it too, which were all no names except David Hess. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. And we're down to the top 3. Remember, these are the most top 10 obscure, underrated, highly criminally underrated. These next 3 are criminally underrated. I don't know why millions of people don't talk about these movies or like are huge fans of them, but this one is called Fade to Black, with a little known actor named Dennis Christopher. This kind of reminds me of me. This kid is a huge movie buff, all sorts of movies, westerns, black and white movies, monster movies. Like, this kid loves everything to do with cinema. He's a huge fan, and he lets it go a little too far. He plays into these characters and he lives his life by these characters, and it's a really, really bad obsession for him, and he ends up doing a lot of crazy stuff, but the way he goes about playing these characters, like he's trying to win an Academy Award or something. Very good actor, this kid. I've never seen him in anything else, but he was awesome. Mickey Rourke actually plays a small role in this too, which was cool to see him in there. This is a Irwin Yablans film, obviously Halloween. He had a lot to do with that one too. So yeah, this is a really cool movie. So if you can find this, this is really hard to find. I had to pay $65 for this, but it's well worth it. I watched it a few times, and yeah, it's deadly. Really, really cool. And the last two, a lot of people do not like Victor Salva because he's a rapist or a child molester, a pedophile, or whatever. I don't want to get into that. I don't care what the guy does with his free time. I'm not a fan of Jeepers Creepers at all. 1 or 2. Didn't like the movies at all. I'm sure I liked them when I first watched them, but they're nothing special. This, on the other hand, is fucking awesome. Clown House is, I wouldn't say scary, nothing scares me, but if you're scared of clowns, you're gonna shit your pants when you watch this movie. It's about some kids who go to a little, what is that called? A little festival or a carnival. A little carnival in their town, and these clowns follow them home. Little do they know that these clowns just escaped from a mental institution, and they just dressed up in this clown outfits that they found, and they follow these kids home. They try to break into the house. They finally do get into the house. It is fucking scary, and it is crazy, and it is awesome. Like, it is an unbelievably well done movie. So props to Victor Salva for making this, but fuck him for being a pedophile or whatever he does. Yeah, that's number 2. Criminally underrated. This is a kick-ass movie. Now, before I do this last one, you probably saw it already just in my hand, but I'm a huge fan of John Carpenter's Halloween. To me, that is the closest thing to a perfect horror movie that anyone will ever see or ever make. From now, 20, 30, 50 years from now, or even before today. No one's ever made a movie that awesome, and no one ever will again. But Stage Fright is the next best thing to that. This is the closest to perfection in a masterpiece besides Halloween that I've ever seen. This, besides Halloween, is by far the best slasher movie in every aspect you can think of. This movie fucking rocks. It has got amazing atmosphere, awesome kills, a great character. It was directed by Michel Sauvé. I think that's how you pronounce it. He worked under Dario Argento for years and years and years. This was actually his first movie. He's also made Cemetery Man, which I really like, a zombie movie, and The Church, which was okay, but I definitely didn't love it. But Stage Fright, this movie is fucking awesome. If you're a Halloween fan or a slasher movie fan whatsoever, this is absolutely a masterpiece. Beautiful, beautiful cinematography, awesome feeling of the movie, just everything about it is just awesome. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed my list. Please feel free to comment or tell me what you did or didn't like about these movies. Thanks.